Hello and welcome to the Creating Healthy Wealth and Motherhood podcast with me, your host, PT Morgan of leveragedmama.com. Welcome to episode 9, and today is a little bit of a break from normal programming or scheduled programming because I wanted to talk a little bit about the reality or my reality of working from home with a child and husband here during this lockdown. So I know that the coronavirus is all we're talking about, but last week I tried to stick to my normal schedule, and this week I tried again and I just couldn't, because what's been on my mind the most is adapting to life in lockdown. We've been in lockdown for a week here almost in New Zealand. So we're all talking about this because we're all trying to navigate it. There's a lot of uncertainty at the moment. So I kind of felt like it would be a nice thing to do to give you a glimpse into my world and how I'm managing working from home with a husband and my daughter here as well. The current situation in New Zealand, it's the 30th of March 2020. The current situation with the pandemic is that we have over 500 cases. Sadly, we've had one death now, but over 50 people have actually recovered. So we're in day 5 of lockdown for a minimum of 4 weeks for the whole country. And what that means for our country is that only essential businesses and their supply chains are able to operate. What that means in my world is that, and I'm surrounded by small business owners, all businesses selling physical products or face-to-face services are actually closed. And that is obviously going to be quite devastating for some people. We've been told stay home, work from home, you can get out for walks and exercise and to get your groceries and if you need medical supplies, etc. But really, you have to stay at home and hang out at home. At the moment, it's autumn. It's March, so it's the first month of autumn. We've just had a pretty heinous storm with a lot of rain and very cold, a lot of wind, and we've got some more rain on the way, and in between that it was really beautiful. So we got outside when it was a sunny patch yesterday and it was really nice. So that's the current situation here in New Zealand at the moment. But I've already been working from home for quite some time. So life before the lockdown, I worked from home and then went into the office for my contract. There's a pretty birdie staring at me through the window. It's a little black bird. Sorry, distracted very easily. So I go into the office when required for meetings and huis and stuff for the client that I'm working with at the moment. But for all of my work on course development and my blogging and podcasting, etc., I do that at home, particularly on a Monday. Monday's when I record my podcast. And then other days I'll go out to a cafe. So I might do some exercise around 9 in the morning. Not in the last few months, I'm going to be honest about that. I've been pretty slack. But I would get out to those cafes after I drop my daughter off at kindy. So she's at kindy 5 days. So I'd be usually driving, drop her off, and stop in at a cafe, maybe on a Tuesday, maybe on a Friday. There's some really nice cafes around here and they're all quite worker friendly. So in one of the cafes, the Spruce Goose, you can actually go up and sit, or actually by Maranui as well, you can go up and sit on a big shared table with other people that are working themselves. So that's quite nice. So I really enjoyed doing that because I got to have someone else make coffee for me and sometimes breakfast. Occasionally my husband and I would go together to a cafe and get breakfast together and work together, and that was really nice. So it was a nice varied week. Sometimes I was in the office, sometimes I was at home. I'd move around the house as well. It was kind of cool. I had it dialed in. I would time block my work, and I really enjoy being able to do that and having the certainty of what have I got to do this week and how am I going to achieve that, and I'm going to time block these things. I used to be really bad at sticking to my time blocks, but I've become really, really good at and disciplined at it now. It took a bit of work, but my time blocks, I would schedule, and that's just simply marking out during this hour I am going to record a podcast episode, or I'm going to do the outline or whatever. I time block according to the day of the week and the time of the day, because energy ebbs and flows throughout the day and throughout the week. So most weekdays I'm getting up at 4:30 and I'm writing. If I feel like I need to journal, I'll journal. If it's Monday morning, I'm always writing a podcast outline. You can hear my daughter in the lounge there. By the time I get to Friday, sometimes I sleep in if I'm feeling a bit tired, but mostly I'm up at 4:30 because there's no distractions. I know that generally from 4:45 to around about 6 a.m. I can be writing with absolutely no distractions. It's dark. There's nothing to do except write. So that's really wonderful for me. And as I said, I always record my podcast episodes on Monday mornings, which seems to just work quite nicely. Husband's usually working from the office. He cycles in every day, so he gets his exercise, and he works from the office except for Wednesdays when he works from home. So I let him have the office. I give him the illusion of space. So that's how we kind of rolled. And of course I would fit in my contracting hours between, my daughter's at kindy as well, so time blocking that out, letting my client know when I'm available. It was all quite nice. It was all quite kind of flowing, and I kind of had found my groove. We did our groceries on Saturday mornings, go to New World, go to More Wilson's, Fresh. We just had it kind of dialed in. It was nice. But along came this pandemic. And lucky for us, our Prime Minister acted really fast. She observed what was going on in other countries, the rate of infection and spread, and how their healthcare systems were being overwhelmed and they didn't act fast enough. So she acted really quickly, and I feel great about that. So I don't want to be flouting the lockdown. I'm going to do what I'm told, basically. And if I'm told to stay home, I'm staying home. So we're adapting. So life now, during lockdown, the kindy is closed, as with all schools. My husband's working from home, as with everyone who's able to work from home. He's working full time. I'm fully home now, so I don't go into my client's office anymore. We'll do Skype calls. I don't go to the cafes because they're not open. I don't go to the gym. Well, I didn't anyway, as you know. Anyway. And I don't have the commute to drop my daughter off and pick my daughter off up at kindy. So we've got this new situation to adapt to, which I'm sure all of you do as well. We are lucky enough to have made one of the rooms in our house into an office, and it's a really nice space. It's got a great view from both sides. It's a quiet space, unless the neighbour's doing DIY, which thankfully it's been raining, so he hasn't been lately. It's a nice space, and we can close the door. And generally there's good boundaries, around that closed door. But there's two of us working from home now, so thankfully also I bought a couple of bar stools for our breakfast bar, which has never been used as a breakfast bar because we've never had bar stools for it. It's just been used as a junk collecting station where we just throw everything from fruit to car keys to phones to mail to, God knows what ends up on that. So a few weeks ago, with wonderful insight, clearly my intuition was talking to me, I just bought a couple of bar stools, and now we can actually work from the breakfast bar, and it's quite nice. You got access to the coffee and unfortunately the fridge some days. It's good. So we've got a couple of different spaces now we can work from, and if you really need privacy, you can go into the main bedroom and it's really quiet and you can close the door, and this is the place where my daughter doesn't know where you are. She thinks you've gone out. It's very sneaky, but anyway, so that's what life is looking like now. We're sharing, all of us are here, we're all sharing, and my daughter, she's an only child, so we are her only human entertainment. We have two cats, which basically sleep all day. It's just us for entertaining her and educating her and everything. So having that some structure in the day is really important. So we schedule our time together. We schedule our time apart. So we'll say, right, we're going to go out when the sun comes out, because it's a bit cloudy at the moment. We're going to go out for a walk together. I went for a walk by myself this morning because when we go on family walks, I'm always stopping to take photos of things, especially after it's been raining. It's beautiful. But that's not a very popular move when you're with the family because they want to keep moving. So I just go out by myself, take as many photos as I want, walk as fast as I want when I want, and it's wonderful. But we also schedule office time. So we talk about who needs the office at what time, because sometimes you need to do deep work. And to get into that deep work space, you've got to be able to concentrate for longer than 5 seconds or however long you're allowed to concentrate when you're out hanging out with your preschooler. To get into that deep work space, you've got to know that you're not going to be interrupted. So having the office, having that time and saying, I communicated this morning, I'm going to go and record a podcast episode. I talked to my daughter about it and said, I'm only going to be in there for an hour and then I'll come out and we'll play and we'll have a snack, etc. So she's got expectations and she knows, okay, cool, that's right, I need to be quiet play for this time. If she's really bouncing off the walls, well, there's an indication she needs more exercise. But also there is the option of giving her iPad with some headphones. She's got some really good apps on there, like Khan Academy Kids, absolutely wonderful. There's Reading Eggs, which is paid. Khan Academy Kids is free. Reading Eggs is a paid app, and there's Epic for reading, which is also a paid app. In the morning we don't do Netflix or movies or anything like that. It's just educational stuff that will keep her entertained if she really needs it and we really need to work, the both of us, at the same time. It's actually surprisingly much easier to meet with my colleagues now that we're in lockdown because they just schedule Skype meetings and I don't have to drive in. I don't have to pay for parking and I don't have to lose, however much time I spend driving. It's pretty cool. So I got to say that's an absolute bonus. And I don't have to be the only one that's attending on video, because we all are. Groceries, how's life now? So because of physical distancing, we're required to stay 2 meters apart from people who are not in our bubble. And that means the people that you're living with, basically. So the supermarkets that are open have had to have a limit of how many people can go in at one time. So sometimes, like if we were to go on the normal times we went, say Saturday morning, it would be really busy. And Saturday, my husband found out that when it was raining, the toilets were closed as well, and he had to wait in the queue for a very long time. And yeah, it wasn't fun for him. So now we're thinking we need to go at odd times, different times. He's the only one who we've decided will go to the grocery shop because I am at more risk if I do catch coronavirus because I have asthma. We're working out how that runs more smoothly. But that's just a thing. We're just adapting, right? And everyone's adapting, and you don't really want to just complain. You just want to go, okay, well, what will we do differently this week? And you just work around it. So some really, really nice stuff that I have experienced, which I think it is so important to remember when nice things happen, right? In a time like this. So the biggest thing for me has been the family time. We're together all the time. I thought in the beginning that we would go a bit potty, and hey, we are only on day 5 officially of lockdown, so ask me again in 2 weeks. But the family time has been just really, really nice. Admittedly, both Tani and I are introverts, so having time just in our bubble isn't, we're not suffering yet, let's just say. We do miss our friends and family. We're well set up to work from home. He has spent time at a startup working from home a lot, so working from home isn't like a big change for us. So that has been really easy. We're set up, we've got the office, we've got decent broadband connection, and all the devices we need. And speaking of devices, we don't have a TV. And I'm not skitey about that, because that could change, especially if we have another lockdown. We just have iPads and laptop. So if we watch movies, we watch them on the laptop. But other nice stuff has been, going out for these walks. Every single person I saw this morning said hello and smiled. That was wonderful. Even the bus driver who drove past me on this deserted street smiled at me, and it was just wonderful. So I know that these people are my neighbours, maybe not the bus driver. The people walking around my neighbourhood should probably be neighbours, because we're only supposed to be within 2k of our homes. So it's really nice. Like, hey, how you going? Seeking that connection with other people because you're not getting it on a daily basis makes you think about things, right? Another really nice thing has been the time in the garden together. So I don't know if this was foresight or not, but about a year ago, we cancelled our gardener who used to come and do the lawns, trim the lawns and tidy everything up. And my husband bought a lawnmower and weed eater. He started doing it himself. So now, instead of being stranded with, oh my gosh, we can't even go and buy a lawnmower because everything's shut and our gardener can't come along, we've got this lawnmower. It's just a wee push mower in the basement and the little weed eater, so we can sort that out. So spending actually time in the garden together as well. So I'll be doing weeding, and Tani was doing the washing the cars the other day, and Mila was drawing on the concrete with chalk. Just really nice. And it wasn't rushed because there was nothing else to do on that. So many less decisions to be made. I don't know if you've heard of the term decision fatigue, but it's actually really important when you're trying to achieve goals and when you're trying to change habits, because when you get decision fatigue, it means that you just default back to automatic behaviour instead of making a decision that's probably better for you. I get decision fatigue at the end of the week, at the end of the day, when I'm hungry, when I'm tired, when I have PMS, whenever. And it's because you just, during the course of your day, you have to make so many decisions depending on your lifestyle. So in life before lockdown, we had the freedom to go to the shop whenever we wanted. We had the freedom to go to any shop, any bar, any cafe, any restaurant at any time we wanted. That seemed liberating now, but actually there was a lot of decisions we had to make. Hey, do you want to go and get a coffee at Mararui? Hey, should we have breakfast at the Chocolate Fish this morning? Hey, let's go to Parrot Dog for a beer this afternoon. Should we? Should we not? Maybe we should go to Double Vision instead. Should we go to the beach, etc., whatever. These things, although liberating to have the freedom of choice, mean that you have to make so many decisions all the time. So what we noticed, both Tani and I, this week, was that we didn't have those decisions to make, and we were kind of like, this is quite peaceful. This is interesting. This is like a big old social experiment, but we're going to make the most of this, of not having to make these decisions. You've literally got no obligations. Your obligations are to your workplace, or whoever you're working for, or whoever you're serving, if they're clients, and you're still able to work and serve and deliver. Your obligations are to your family, so being there for them and looking after them, and your obligations are to yourself. There's very few obligations that you have, which is really weird because I have seen more family in the last week than I have in the last year probably, because we've been freely FaceTiming, Skyping, Zooming each other. There hasn't been that, I should go to that birthday party. I'm not going to be able to make it to that. I should go and visit this person. It's completely acceptable just to get on FaceTime and say hello to them. And that has actually been really wonderful without having obligations. We all are working from home, so we're all like, okay, well, is it a good time to talk? Is now a great time? Cool, no? Sweet, we'll do it another time. We're not going anywhere. It's really been quite interesting. No obligations, but more family has been pretty cool to me. So this is the other super, super cool thing about basically half the world being in lockdown. And that is Have you noticed that all of the performers, musicians, actors, comedians, and creatives are online? They're going live all the time. It is so, so cool. There's dance classes. We watched Annika Moa play Songs for Bubbas live on Instagram yesterday. I watched the sunset in New York City with a guy who does New York City timescapes. That sounds a bit seedy, doesn't it? Oh no, it wasn't seedy at all. He was on Instagram live playing his piano, playing a Philip Glass number, which was just amazing. And while his camera was trained to the sunset over Manhattan, and there was lots of different people jumping on and saying, hey, I'm over in Norway, I'm over in Ireland, I'm in Australia, etc. So that was really cool. I'm getting, because these people are at home. I watched Keith Urban play some tunes with Nicole Kidman running around, getting these different guitars and banjos and things for him to play. There's so many people who would normally be performing in person, and you might have to go to their show to see them in person, or maybe you see a TV show or whatever recorded for them, but they're doing it live. They're on Instagram live, they're on Facebook live, they're on YouTube streaming. It's just wonderful. Also, a lot of the places like the museums and theatres and things that have been closed down have been releasing their shows for people to watch. So last week I watched an opera by Richard Wagner. I can't pronounce it. It was a German opera. It was first performed in 1870, and it was just amazing. And then I watched, what else did I watch? Sorry about that big sigh. I'm just getting really excited about all these things, clearly. I also watched a ballet called Napoli. Wonderful, just wonderful. So all these different things, I'm like, wow, this is actually really nice. And I'm at home. I'm not having to go anywhere. I'm not actually even having to travel anywhere to see these things. And on that, it's really good to be knowing that we're giving the earth such a break. We're giving the earth a break from all our busyness and our polluting. And because when you think about it, no one's really driving anywhere unless you're an essential service in New Zealand. So yeah, you can drive places. You can drive to the supermarket, etc., to the park. But if the police will pull you over if they think that you are taking the mickey, as we call it here in New Zealand, flouting the guidelines. So clearly there's a lot less traffic on the roads. There is no peak hour traffic because the people are not going to work in the same way. Production has stopped for non-essential supply, I don't know how to say that, suppliers of essential services, products. So all of this CO2 that we've been producing is not as bad. And we're not using as much gas, natural resources, etc. I know there's probably other ways that we're doing damage by all being at home, but right now I'm feeling good about giving the earth a little bit of a break. You're also, because the shops are closed, you're forced to use what you have. So there was a mad rush at Bunnings on the last day before lockdown, and I knew I had already had plans to build this little garden out the back, and I knew that's something that I could prepare for, but I wasn't quite ready, and I didn't want to get into the mad rush of things and go and buy things I possibly might have gotten wrong. I might have designed it wrong, etc. So maybe that happens in the next lockdown, and let's be honest, there might be another one. But I'm just using what I have. So I've been sticking herbs in the garden that I do have that isn't, the cat poo garden, if you've listened to an earlier podcast where I explained about the analogy of the garden. I'm not going to show you what's in there this morning. Horrific. So yeah, we're using what we have. And that includes inside, outside, DIY, decluttering. You're kind of stuck with what you've got, so you've got to make the most of it, right? What's in the pantry as well. So that is another way that we're giving the earth a break. Yeah, so there has been a lot of nice stuff. And I kind of wanted to spend a little bit of time rabbiting on about that because I want to remind you of the positives, and it's really important to actually sit down and appreciate the good stuff that has come out of this situation, which is, if you read too much news, you can get really dark. Trust me, I know. I have been there. So, I have been to some dark places thinking about the bad stuff, I've read too much news at some points and thought I really need to stop this because this is getting me down. One day I got on this really downbender of thinking about other people and how everyone else is faring. There's the job losses. There's people living in unideal situations, like in poverty. There's homeless people. There's people living in bad home situations. There'll be families that are really stressed because they're all forced into this one space and still trying to work. Maybe there's job losses in that family, and there's businesses that have closed down. There's elderly people that are lonely. There's people that are sick. There's people that have illnesses that may not be able to see people now. And I got into this really, really down spiral of thinking about these people and feeling helpless as to help them. And then I got into a kind of funny thought of, what about people that are having affairs, right? That would be a real bummer and a bit of a or people that are, I don't know, burglars. Gosh, you just got stunted, didn't you? Can't really sneak into someone's house when everyone's home. So that's, I don't know. I kind of found that darkly humorous. But then there's the weddings that have to be cancelled and the funerals that cannot be had yet. Devastating. Births that happen and nobody can come and see the baby. Breaks my heart. Birthdays. We had a 5th birthday to go to next week and we won't be going to that, obviously, because everyone's in lockdown. So, yeah, I mean, these are things that can get to you, but I think what helped me there is remembering what my circle of control was. What can I actually control about that? I can't. So there's very little I can do to solve it by thinking about it. I can do things like this, share my thoughts on a podcast, right? That's about all I can do on that. Just looking out for other people. For me, it's calling my dad most days. I might even give my landlord a call, seriously. He lives nearby and he is in his late 60s. And I know that his children don't live in Wellington, so I might even just give him a call and see how he's going. So out of these challenges, hopefully comes some good stuff. Another challenge, adapting to less personal space. I'm used to having a lot of personal space during the day. I've become really used to that, of being able to sit, when Tani's at work and Mila's at kindergarten, being able to schedule my day and go, right, I'm going to sit there and think my head off if I need to. Eat when I want, do what I want. Oh, I love doing what I want. So having to adapt to having that less personal space and freedom is definitely, it could be a real cause of frustration, but we talk about it as a family and we adapt as we go. Mila's an only child, so we're the only people she will see. So she doesn't want to see people arguing about not having enough space. She wants to be with people who are fun, right? I mean, we can't be fun all the time, but people who are not grumpy. So it's up to us to figure that out. I think we might wrap this up a little bit now, and maybe I can give you some tips, because clearly I've got this thing dialed in. I mean, obviously. Actually, if you can send me your tips, send help, please. Send me help. So, my suggestions for you, if you are feeling the struggle and not doing any of these things, have a think about them. Set a family schedule. Get a whiteboard out or a big old piece of paper. Draw up the week, draw up the times, then write it in. What are we expecting to happen? When do I need the office, for example? When do I want to get out and do my exercise? When will we spend time together? Who's going to cook dinner on which night? Just having a schedule will help set expectations, not just between you and the other adults in the household, if there are any, but your kids as well. And with those expectations, you can set boundaries. Establish boundaries and never assume that other people know how to respect your boundaries. Never assume that. If you need peace and quiet for 15 minutes while you meditate, be sure to say, hey, I'm going to meditate now, and it would be great if. Don't just assume because you've gone into the bedroom that people will leave you alone. And that will allow you to schedule some deep work as well. If that's what you need to do for your work, for your business, for anything that you do, you're then able to schedule deep work. I've been able to record this podcast episode with no breaks because I did my outline this morning at 4:30 when I was alone with no distractions, and that was a scheduled block of time. And now I've got this scheduled block of time in the office where both my husband and my daughter know that I'm recording, so not to bang and scream on the door. He wouldn't do that, surely. But I've set my environment up and set the boundaries so that I can have a more successful time creating content. Another thing you can do now is just look at what's happening in this lockdown and think about how you can prepare better for the next one, if there is one. We don't know yet. Think about, if there is another lockdown, what do you want to be doing? For me, I know, like I've actually sketched up and measured all of the wood that I need for my little garden, exactly how much soil I need, and I'm going to buy that. I made a list of the clothes we need to buy because we're coming into winter if we do have another lockdown. Just having that prep, so that gives me a sense of control as well. And as a business, start engaging with your audience. Particularly if you're a business that has had to shut down during this time, what do your audience need? What are they going to need? Can you anticipate that? Once you're able to, will you be able to meet the demand? If there is a big rush of demand from your people, maybe it's a good time to reach out to them and ask them, what are you thinking about? Have a think about what you need from me. If there is a period where restrictions are lifted, how can you prepare for that? How can they help you prepare for that? I know that it's really hard to prepare for anything when we've got so much uncertainty, but just have a think about how your business can help others in relation to this kind of new way of living for this period of time that we're going through this together. How can you help others? What can you ramp up production of? What can you focus on? Just get thinking. So with that, I'm going to wrap this episode up. I'm going to continue with this podcast, continue to make it till the end of season 1, which is episode 12 will be the final one. It gives me a sense of normality, and I really hope that it is helping you in some way, and I'd always love to hear from you. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and thinking of you in lockdown. Enjoy your day. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've listened and enjoyed this episode, please leave a 5-star review on the podcast. This will help other mamas out there who might need to hear this discover the podcast. If you want to join us in the Facebook group, Creating Healthy Wealth in Motherhood, come on in and have a chat. I'd love to get your feedback, your questions, and to get to know you. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next time.